Okay, so this video has definitely been a process to record because on one hand, I think I've redone this thing so many times that I've honestly just lost track. However, with that being said, no process can be perfect, so with that being said, let's actually get into the video, shall we? The Potential Man. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this meme at some point or another where we all have more or less gotten the gist of it. Someone or something which has the potential to be great or amount to something, but in the grand scheme of things just hasn't really done much in the long run and won't do anything for the foreseeable future. And I think in an odd way that I think that it kind of applies to just people in general when you think about it. Because tell me, who hasn't had a dream, a plan, or some type of crazy goal which they wanted to accomplish? Whether if it's something that's overly ambitious where you want to change the world, or just something small which you want to accomplish for yourself. It's kind of like a universal constant in a way, though at the same time there's no denying that it's also a universal constant to run into setbacks, which could always change depending on circumstances. Because on one hand, it could be one thing that starts as a small inconvenience that can slightly deter you from your path, to then something that just slowly starts from one thing and spirals into something different, which changes your path entirely. Which leads me to the point of this video. Because if I were going to use anyone as an example for this, it's me, myself, and I. Yes, I know, crazy plot twist. Because if I were going to pretty much set the stage, back when I was initially doing the whole commentary slop era of my channel, there came a point in time where I wanted to simply up the production quality, which doesn't sound like so much of a bad thing on a surface level, and it only makes sense. It was during that year or years where I was really invested in YouTube and was really doing my best. But then there came a point where I was really close to reaching a very specific goal which I had in mind, and just as I was about to accomplish it, things out of my control just got in the way, and it went from something which seemed like oh, I could do this, to something that just slowly spiraled over time. It didn't help that when it came to the whole thing regarding my job search, which I brought up multiple times in my channel updates and also my community posts, that it's definitely the reason for why things spiraled and why things definitely kind of declined. And it also kind of applied to my whole passion when it came to YouTube. Because as I said before, there are things that I enjoy about making YouTube videos in general, but then there came a point where I just kind of felt like I wasn't necessarily uploading out of passion, but more so out of obligation, so the channel wasn't dying entirely. And for a while, it just kind of felt like I was in this daze, or just in this weird sense of limbo, where sure, I'll upload, sure, I'll do this, I'll do that, but it just didn't necessarily feel like I was doing it for me. That was until I reached one point in time where everything just kind of changed, but out of circumstances. Because, as I said, the job search had been going on for a while at this point, and well, despite it being a few months, it honestly felt like a year was being taken off my life, because Lord, that experience is just not kind to the soul in general. But more or less, I was at a point where I felt like I kind of reached all the dead ends in my town, and honestly, when a small town like mine, you can't really blame me. That was until I ended up getting a call back from some guys in which I thought I had the opportunity to get an internship to do some editing stuff that was in the professional field, which is something I was really looking forward to for a long time, because in my town there weren't really a lot of opportunities like that. And just as I thought I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, it turns out that I ended up getting drop kicked down a flight of stairs. Because just as I thought that things were turning out for me, it turns out the entire thing was a fluke. And as you can expect, the next 2 weeks for me probably felt like the most long, depressive episodes that I went through. And then it came to a point where I was like, you know what? Fuck that guy. I'm gonna go work on what became the dispatch video. And with the dispatch video, everything was initially going fine. I was relearning my love for editing again, and everything was going great. That was until the editor decided to go shit itself at the last minute, and just when I decided to go export the thing, all I saw was a black screen. Now, I was at a crossroads. On one hand, I don't think anyone would blame me for giving up and calling it quits, just move on to another video, or just calling it a day in general. But then at the same time, it's like I had reached my boiling point. On one hand, sure, give it up is easy. Anyone can give up. But then at the same time, it's like I had this crazy feeling of spite that was like my strongest motivation motivator. And it was in that moment that I not only made the dispatch video in the span of what was a 2-week production in the span of a day, but I also managed to get 2 videos out in the same month. And it felt like from that point on, it was like I was on a high. It felt like I was so full of myself in terms of ego, because it felt like finding love for just doing stuff for the love of the game, and it was like the greatest motivator ever if I were going to describe it in simple terms. And it also kind of leads me into this next point, which is what I plan to do with the channel in the future. Now, as I said, I do have a bit of a creative spark when it comes to wanting to make stuff again, so I do have a few ideas down the line. Rather it be remakes or videos, which I thought were alright when it came to the idea, but were fucking horrible when it came to their execution, or maybe even returning to some of my old projects, which ended up getting scrapped because of reasons with big quotation marks. And then considering the fact that I'm more in tune with my art, where I now have an actual art style, maybe I could do some stuff on the channel like a hypothetical games video, or maybe even do new channel stills. Though if those things do come out, do not put any bets on me that that will be done in like a timely fashion, because due to my whole process, that shit, yeah, depending on how ambitious it will be, it could go from something that's reasonable to something that will probably take a month or so in order to work on. But with that being said, well, I'm not sure if I really accomplished anything with the whole Hopecore aspect of this video. I do hope it inspired y'all, because coming from someone like me, where I had circumstances against me, whether it become the assholes lying about one thing or just things that I might control, the only thing that could stop you from accomplishing what you want to do is, well, you and how much you want it. I feel like doing something for the love of the game is one thing, but managing to triumph against the odds and actually accomplish whatever you're aiming for is probably one of the best things ever, and well, I hope I could inspire someone when it comes to that aspect. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch y'all next time when I eventually upload again, and well, have a good one, folks. Later.